I just realized something. I'm always mentioning the Push2 and Ableton as my go-to place. Hey, hope all is well. Hope everyone's doing good. This episode, I just realized something. I'm always mentioning the Push2 and Ableton as my go-to place. So I thought, you know what? Why not have a quick discussion on this? Nothing too heavy. May get into it at some other time, but you know what? I just realized that I'm getting really comfortable with the Push2 in terms of utilization. It seems to be my scratch pad for anything that I'm starting out with. And I just thought it's interesting because it's one of these tools. And I thought about this yesterday, and this is why I thought I'd do this video today on the Push2, is as much as I like my hardware samplers and stuff, I love them. But there's something about the Push2, and there's a couple of questions going to come to, or queries or discussion points. You can throw things into it. And this goes for Ableton just in general, Ableton Live, and even some of his early versions. I've had it, I think, since Live, I don't know, Live 4? Maybe, I'm not sure. So I remember walking into a shop in Tottenham Court Road, London, and saying, just, you know, what keyboard, and I think that's when I got my Novation keyboard, and they said what would go along with it. And weirdly enough, they said, oh, take this package, you get it free anyway with the keyboard, and try it out. And I tried it out, and yeah, it was great. But I was, at that time, I think I was into Cubase, I was into Logic, early versions of Logic and stuff, and it was just one of those things I thought, okay, I'll come back to. So I played around with it, and I thought it was pretty good. But over time, and especially since, I mean, obviously playing around with it on the hooking up to a keyboard, you can do pretty much everything. But since the Push2 came out, I can just throw samples into it, or even just sounds, any sound, samples, sounds, you know, even off my modular rig, I'll put stuff in there, and suddenly you can sort of just manipulate the sound. You can add effects really quickly, and it's a really interesting tool. And for me, I mean, I will bring up Live, and I mean, here's a beat I've got going at the moment. It's just like, oh yeah. I mean, it's the sort of thing we can just chop up. I mean, that hasn't finished yet, but I mean, I got that off a sound pack, and I was just playing around with some. I just wanted to go and get some break beats and stuff, rather than going to the record collection and just seeing. I just wanted to see what's out there on one of my sources. Loop Cloud. I'm not going to hide it. I was on Loop. I mean, I've got a Loop Cloud account. So if I want quick ideas, just to get some inspiration, that's usually where I go. And what I end up doing is I take the sounds, whether it's Loop Cloud, whether it's off a record, whether it's been chopped up, whether it comes off the modular. I will record it as a WAV, and then put it into Live, and then probably chop it up and put it across the pads like what I've got here. I mean, I've got the original loop. I think it's, let's play it. Let's just show you how it sounded. So I've got the metronome on, let's turn that off. And that's just a normal breakbeat loop and stuff. But just the fact that, I mean, obviously you can chop up stuff wherever you want, but it was just being able to take that. And there was a sound in, there was a double drum, a double kick drum. And I thought, oh, I need to chop that out. You can go in there, you can quickly chop it out. You can slice it up into individual chunks. The fact that you can go beyond 16 pads is really good. I know you can do it on other samplers and devices and stuff like that anyway. But I mean, you've got what's that, 16, 32, 64 pads. And you can chop, slice it right down to its minute component and then manipulate it from there. And I found that what I do, I'll chop it up into little break beats and stuff like that, and then I'll reassemble it just like I used to do on my old samplers. I mean, S950. Oh, it's down here. I've taken it out because I've going to be working on it. That'll be the next video. I'm replacing the screen, so I've got some work to do on that. And the thing is, I mean, you can take a sound, you can lay it out across the 64 pads as it comes up, and then suddenly just playing around with it. Obviously, you can, once you've got it in the correct key that you want, you can just play it. And then suddenly, I mean, I've realized that a lot of my bass patterns and stuff like that, I've been chopping up, getting bass samples, chopping them up. And, even if a bass loop is really good, I'll still end up chopping it up because it's like, okay, now I know that, yes, that loop is great and it probably works with the track, but just to add that individual element and that, your own feel to it, I end up replaying it, or no, not replaying it, but replaying another pattern. So I'll chop it up across the pads and then just changing it around. And then suddenly I've got a bass pattern, which is like, oh, that's different. Okay, good. That's my own one. So essentially I'm using the texture of the sample and the feel of the sample, and then just manipulating it, and then it ends up creating a completely new bass pattern. And I seem to be doing that quite regularly now. So rather than just taking a sample or a loop and just playing it and then going, okay, fine, I can do that, just chopping it up and just messing around with it more. So suddenly all the samples are being spliced all over the place and being chopped up and manipulated and tweaked to the point where you're just reassembling stuff. And this also comes from just seeing like those, you've got Tracklib where they do this feature where they break down the sample, and then you see how these guys used to utilize 10 seconds of sampling time. And I really like that video concept, what they've got. I mean, obviously they are advertising Tracklib, but it's good because you see the process and how a sample has been manipulated and warped and tweaked just so they can, one, disguise it, and two, maximize the fact they've only got, I don't know, 10 seconds. And they might have 20 because they might have a S950 behind it, running drum patterns or stuff like that. But I find that the Akai Push2 is really, really good as a tool for manipulating stuff. And what happens is I end up taking it off here, off the I'll bring it over actually, just so you can see. Here you go. Let me just solo that. Can you see that? Sorry. Just, I know you can do this on most devices, I know you can do it on most samplers, but there's just something about it, being able to quickly manipulate a sound and see if you like it or not. Sorry about that. And as a tool, as a tool for just being creative, I love it. I know I dragged on about it and stuff like that, but I thought I'd give it a feature this week because I'm always talking about my vintage tools, such as, well, new vintage, I should say, S2400. Right, here's the Akai sitting down here on the floor. Reason is screen's going to get replaced. Need to swap that out. What else have I got? What's vintage? Oh, modulars over there. Get sounds off that. What else? Moog sitting in the corner. And these are all the things that I Moog there. And then the matriarchs down there. And just over in view, you can see the Renaissance and stuff like that. And up in the corner, a TR8 and stuff. But yeah, as a quick, if I've got an idea and I think, okay, I've been jumping between genres recently. So it's been, actually, let me save that and let me just see if I can bring up something that I've been working on recently. Only because it'll give you an idea of how things have been chopped up. Let's see if this plays okay. Turn that one down because I don't know what the drum sounds are on there. That's a house track on the push. So it start out on the push, end up elsewhere. So everything gets used. So the push is the workhorse for getting the ideas down, and then it will end up in some other program. I have to admit, I probably jump between all of them. Sometimes you just get a feel for, suddenly it's, I want to do something. It might end up in Logic. So I might record like the sequence or the song in Ableton Live. Then what I'll do is export it out, export the stems out, and import them into whatever tool I'm going to next. So it might be Logic. I might still end up going into Logic because I think, oh yeah, I can do so-and-so in Logic. I'll end up playing around with it. And then, or I might just go straight into Pro Tools. And in some cases, actually, I was trying to do some vocals the other day and none of the programs would work with these vocals properly. There's a gospel track I was talking about a little while ago. And the only one which seemed to do it was Reaper, where the others would sort of bend the pitch. I don't know whether it was the way it was sung, something I did with sampling, I don't know. But I had it in live and then I took it out of there, had the music done in live, then I put the vocal stems and pitch changed it. No, not pitch change, just stretched it out. But I ran it into Reaper and done it perfectly. That's another good program. Might do a feature on Reaper. I don't know enough about Reaper yet, so I'll come back to that one. So I've got some work to do on Reaper. Reaper seemed to work really well. But coming back to live, as a workhorse for getting ideas down, what I'll do is, as you can see here, I'll just drop sounds into it, play around, and say, okay, right, I'm working on backpack hip hop. I'll drop all the sounds in there, and as a starting point, then suddenly I start to think, okay, this is what I'm going for, and then I'll just get into that groove of the type of beat that I want to do. So, and that's kind of where it is now. So, yeah, it's just wanted to share that, just to say they made a really, really good product. I've got to admit. Let me mute out that and just play just what I was messing around with. And this is something that I'm working on at the moment. But these samples, but completely chopped up, rearranged and manipulated, and just tweaked the life out of them and stuff. But started it out in live. It's not going to stay there, and then do stuff with it. gonna do some tweaking on that. But I just wanted to, and this is just like, it didn't take that long to put together. I know the mix isn't quite right because I haven't got to that stage yet. Still an idea, but that's what it is. Let's go back to the other part without the horn section, and it just gets you going. It just gets you started, and then you go, okay, does it work? Does it not? If you're happy, you carry on. If not, you go, okay, park it. Leave it alone, start another project. And that's what I like about it. So for me, speed and workflow. So it's always set up. I've got two push devices. I've got this one and I've got another one at home because I found that it's the one thing you can carry. You can chuck it in a rucksack and just whiz along with it and plug it in and off it goes. Right, coming back to what I was talking about at the beginning. And I've seen this in forums before, will they make a standalone? I wonder. Or would it be worth making a standalone? I wonder. I do flip between the screen on the device and obviously live software and stuff like that. I'm not totally... I know some people, when you watch the Ableton videos, people are solely on the device itself. I'm not quite there yet with that, only because I'm so used to the Ableton Live. Then I'll drag things around, and then I'll go on here and tweak. But I do go in here when I'm trying to chop up the samples and do bits and pieces and do little tweaks and stuff. I'll go to the pads, and I'll use the pads for playing, and I'll do various other tweaks and stuff like that on here because it's got the knobs and I can do what I like on it. But yeah, it's a big up to Ableton for creating the Push2. I didn't have a Push 1, so I can't comment on that, but the Push2 I really do like. I wonder what they're going to do next. This has been around a while now. I'm not saying it's not even old in terms of what it can do. And I still haven't, I'm only scratching the surface of what its capabilities are. And there were some things I was trying out today. I think, I wonder if it can do X. So I might have to watch a few videos to see what else, how deep this thing goes. But as a single device, it's really good. It's a really, really good tool. I do like it. I mean, I could, if I really wanted to, have this and probably nothing else. The only thing is dirtying up the sound, and this is where you need you can add the gritty effects to it and stuff like that and tone it and do that, but it's a very clean device. It's a bit like how when people said, oh, the MPC X is too clean. It's like that. It's a very clean device, but I'm good with that. I'm fine because I have other devices that can dirty it up. S24, S950, and actually once it comes back, MPC 3000. Sorry, it's still away, still being repaired. I'm going to have to do a little chase on that because I want it, and I'd really like to get working on it. But I generally, if I'm at home, I'll take my S2400 home, pair it up with the Push and Live, and I'll run them together. The only thing I found recently is there was a little bit of time lag. So I was playing around and I sort of worked it out. It was obviously latency, and I had the buffer size. I dropped it down to 32 samples, and at the moment the driver error correction's at 0. I had moved that around a bit. Not sure how much difference it made, but dropping the buffer size down to minimum 32 samples seemed to work, and these two are in sync because you could hear a little difference when you run a pattern on here and like the snare's on point. You didn't, and it wasn't out in terms of how I played it, but playing the two together, like playing the 2400 and playing the Push2 together, they were slightly out, and that was it. It was just buffer size drop the buffer size down to 32 samples. That seemed to solve the problem. Not say it's going to be a permanent fix, because sometimes you need a buffer size. I usually max it out at 2048 samples, but in this case I had it down at 32 samples, and that seemed to solve the problem. So it kept everything in sync. Yeah, other than that, that was it. So yeah, it's I don't know if I've got, actually I should play that pattern, shouldn't I? I'll have to mute something out. Let's see how that works, and I can just quickly demonstrate. Let's have a quick sync is off. USB-B pattern running. Yep, sorry, that won't play now. Let's see what's going on now. It doesn't want to play ball. Ah, that's why. Preference, audio input device, Islet instruments. Let's see what happens now. There we go. So that's with a pattern from my 2400 running. I'll solo that. And that's the 2400 running in sync, slaved to the Ableton Live. And that happens sometimes, not quite sure why. Brad, why does that happen? Mr. Islet Instruments. So yeah, that's it. So here we go, play that. Tell me if it's out. But what I do, once it's recorded, I'll check it anyway. Little groove going on there. As I said, don't count this as a finished track, alright? So don't string me out. Just getting a groove going. Let's get the horns back in. That's it for now. Can't give you too much. Well, I'll give you enough of that. This track will be coming out. I don't know. It may come out. It may not. Who knows? It's part of a project. This was meant to be Adventures in Sound project. It may come out as that, or it might be the bigger project, depending on time this year, how I want to release it. As it might be end up as Mind Adventures, don't know. And I'm just debating who to put on vocals on that, so that'll be an interesting one. But I've got one of my friends from way back in the day who's doing vocals on a couple of tracks, but I want to get one of my new guys. I say new, he's not new. Maybe get his vocals on here, because he's very much into trap, hip hop. Whereas putting on an old school beat would be interesting. I've heard him on one and he flows well, so I might put him on this. You never know. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that was it. Just wanted to do a feature on the Ableton. For all the Ableton guys out there, or girls, it's a great device. I mean, I have to admit, if you just want to hook Ableton up with a computer, with your computer and get going, you can use it as your sole device, because it's got the pad, you can play everything on it and stuff like that. It does the job, and you've got all the sounds you can lay. It's the simpler is probably my favorite tool on here, because so what I do is I will get a sample, or the samples will come in, load them up, and then when I want to chop it up, I go into, what's it call it? Let's see if I could do one. I'll just do one as an example. I won't save it. Let me save this project first. And what I would do is, for example, what sound is that? go to mode. I'll go to slicing. Then you can slide. You can see if you pick your slicing, you can slice it there if you want. You can put slice by transient, by beat. They don't all line up. By region or manual. So then you can go, okay, I'm going to do it by manual. So, and then that's it. So you've got 2 samples there. If you wanted to extend it and do more, go back to the first one. Let's go. So now you've got 3 parts to your sample. So and then you can tweak it. Nudge that sound. This one you can nudge. You can nudge that as well if you want. Let's take it back because it needs to be here. You can zoom in. Do nudge. There you go. And that's it. So there you go. That's how I chop it up. And then after that, if I want to add more, you can do it from the screen as well. You can just double click, you create another one. You've got a full sample, or if you want to go in and you can zoom in and you can chop here, however you want to do it. You can do what you like. And that's it. That's why I like it. Speed. Just go in and chop it up, and then you can tweak it to your heart's content. The choice is yours after that. It's excellent. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'm not sponsored. No, Ableton haven't given me anything. No, they haven't paid me. No, they haven't given me a push or anything like that. This is just the love of a product. And when a product is built well, or designed well, and it has features that I like, I will happily promote it. I mean, for a manufacturer, or so for a company that has created software and created a desktop device to go along to complement their software, I think they've done really well, really well. It's a great device. There may be features and stuff what people say, oh, I wish it did that, and stuff like that. Fine, no issues with that. But as one device, what does stuff, I do like it. So that's me giving props to Ableton and Ableton Push2. Let's see what they come out with next. I'll leave the other equipment alone today. I won't mention. As you can see, I've got the MPC X Holy Grail sitting here, covered up, and I'll be back to that one. I've got some things I want to do on there, but it's all about this, and that's it. This is my starting point a lot of the time. But yeah, starting point could be that. Sometimes I have gone from my Akai into whatever program I want. However you want to do it after that. You can even stay in. You don't have to come out of live. You can stay in here and stuff. There might be projects I might try and just finish it. I'm so used to Pro Tools and I'm so used to Logic, so I end up exporting because I can do mixing and mastering in those exactly how I know how it's going to sound. Whereas with live, I use it as a production tool, and to get my ideas and song and structure and all that kind of stuff going, and then move it across to another device for mixing and mastering. Kind of separates things in my head when I do that. And that's it. Anyway, have a great day. Enough said. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't say that very often. Normally I just put the words up, but there you go. All right, see you later. Have a great one.